Why money solves more problems than people want to admit. No one likes to say this out loud. It sounds cold, it sounds shallow, it sounds wrong. But money doesn't just help your life, it quietly removes problems before they ever show up. Think about the last truly stressful situation you faced. Not annoying, not inconvenient, stressful. There's a good chance money was either the problem or the solution you didn't have. A medical bill, a broken car, a bad boss, a toxic neighborhood, an emergency flight, a month where everything went wrong at once. We pretend these are emotional problems, mental health problems, motivation problems, but when you zoom out, most of them are cash problems wearing disguises. And that makes people uncomfortable, because we've built an entire culture around pretending money doesn't matter that much. You've heard it before. Money can't buy happiness. Just follow your passion. Things will work out. Comforting ideas, socially acceptable ideas, also incomplete. Right now, inflation is quietly rewriting people's lives. Rent isn't rising dramatically, it's rising relentlessly. Healthcare costs don't shock anymore, they exhaust. And job security? It no longer disappears in crashes, it erodes slowly, year after year. This isn't about greed, it's about friction. Money is a tool that removes friction from life, and when you don't have it, friction becomes your full-time job. Let's break this down without pretending money is magic or evil. Start with something simple: time. People say money can't buy time. That's technically true, but it can buy control over time, and that's what people actually mean. When you're broke, time owns you. Your schedule isn't yours. Your energy isn't yours. Your decisions are reactive. You don't ask, what's the best choice? You ask, what can I afford right now? That single constraint reshapes your entire life. It determines where you live, who you work for, how long you stay in bad situations. Money doesn't make you smarter. It gives you room to be smart. This is where the math gets uncomfortable. $1,000 emergency isn't a financial issue for someone with savings. It's an inconvenience. For someone without it, it's a cascade. Late fees, interest, credit damage, stress, poor decisions made under pressure. One problem becomes 5. And this is how people get trapped, not because they're lazy, but because compounding works both ways. We love talking about compound interest when it builds wealth. We don't talk about compound stress. Lack of money compounds faster than money itself. Now here's the part people don't like admitting. Money solves emotional problems indirectly, not by buying happiness, but by removing chronic anxiety. When you're financially stable, your nervous system calms down. You sleep better. You think longer term. You say no more often. That's not personality, that's bandwidth. Psychologists call it cognitive load. When your brain is constantly tracking bills, deadlines, and survival math, it has less capacity for creativity, patience, and optimism. So when people say, money didn't change me, they're half right. It didn't change who they were. It removed the pressure that was distorting them. Now let's talk about the system, because this isn't accidental. Modern economies are designed around liquidity. Cash flow determines freedom more than net worth. A doctor earning $300,000 but living paycheck to paycheck is less flexible than someone earning $80,000 with investments and reserves. The difference isn't income, it's margin. Margin is invisible power. It lets you wait, negotiate, walk away. And here's the irony. The people who say money isn't everything usually have enough of it to stop worrying. The people who desperately need money are told to focus on mindset. That contradiction should bother you, because the data is clear. Financial stress is one of the strongest predictors of divorce, depression, and chronic illness. Not lack of gratitude, not lack of ambition, lack of buffer. Now zoom out even further. Why does money solve so many problems? Because most modern problems are logistical. Transportation, housing, healthcare, education, safety. These aren't philosophical questions, they're supply and demand systems, and money is the access key. This doesn't mean money fixes everything. It doesn't create meaning. It doesn't guarantee love. It doesn't protect against loss. But it dramatically reduces avoidable suffering. And avoiding suffering isn't shallow, it's practical. Think about choice. Real choice only exists when all options are affordable. Otherwise, it's just illusion. You're not choosing to stay at a bad job. You're constrained. You're not choosing cheap food. You're optimizing for survival. Money doesn't make you free. It removes the bars you didn't realize were there. So this is why investing matters, not as a flex, but as insulation. Not to get rich fast, but to make life quieter. To reduce the number of emergencies that turn into disasters. To turn panic into planning. To shift from reaction to intention. And yet, we still romanticize struggle. We praise hustle. We glorify burnout. We tell people character is built through hardship. Sometimes that's true, but unnecessary hardship mostly builds trauma. There's nothing noble about constant financial stress. There's nothing pure about instability. Stability isn't boring, it's powerful. So why do people resist this truth? Because admitting money solves problems forces uncomfortable questions about wages, about inequality, about systems that reward leverage over labor. It's easier to moralize than to analyze. It's easier to say money doesn't matter than to ask why so many people can't get enough of it to breathe. But here's the real tension. If money solves more problems than we admit, what happens in a world where fewer people have it? What happens when inflation outpaces wages, when assets inflate faster than labor, when safety nets thin out? Money doesn't just solve problems, it determines who gets to avoid them. And that's the part we don't talk about, because once you see that clearly, you can't unsee it. So here's the question to sit with. If money isn't everything, why does its absence explain so much? And what does that mean for how you prepare for the future before the next problem shows up?